Hello there and welcome back to another LEGO video. These seem to be so common now with all the summer sets on the horizon almost here, but this video I just wanted to preface with saying it's sort of a merge-in video. It's a combination of a load of different things. We'll be covering the next Star Wars magazine, another leak that we've got, something about a pre-existing leak that has been made clear now that I've looked at the images for a while, and about the price changes with certain minifigures that are coming out in newer sets. I'll try and chapter it up down below on the bar so you can scroll to the bit you want to listen to. I'll do my best. First off, starting with a new leak, of course the most important bit for many of yous. If not, feel free to skip, but we have a new look at the Sabine helmet supposedly coming in the new Ghost set. Now this is great to see, as up until recently we hadn't even seen an image of Sabine in her Mandalorian armour, so we can now assume that this Mandalorian armoured Sabine will be the one we get in the Ghost set. This is also cool as it will be the main Sabine throughout the Ahsoka season, so we can expect to see Sabine in her Mandalorian armour more times than not. Next up, with a pre-existing figure. Now we know this Boba Fett comes out with the new mech, with his arm printing and all this awesome reprinted detail. It looks like an amazing figure, but many of us may have not noticed at first glance that if we take a really close look under his helmet, we see the very bottom of a tan head. Now, all the old Bobas came with whatever head the clone troopers had at the time, so it only makes sense it comes with a tan head, but this now gives us another question. What if Boba has his own head, or perhaps this head is the reused one from the latest Boba where he's been all scarred by the Sarlacc? So, now we know it's a tan head. Which tan head will we be getting with Boba? Hopefully we see soon with some of the reviews from people getting these sets early, or when I buy them myself I'll be able to let you know in its own video. Just for now we have that to question. Clone head or Boba head? Now the next LEGO Star Wars magazine, the one after the Y-Wing Bomber, will include a LEGO Scout Trooper, which is great news, especially with all the other Endor figures we have been getting. If you're not aware, the LEGO Star Wars annual for next year will be including the LEGO Luke Skywalker from the latest Endor diorama. And if you thought that was great, in the LEGO Advent Calendar of this year, we'll be getting the Leia from that exact same set. So this Scout Trooper just sort of completes the bundle, and for anyone who doesn't already have a Scout Trooper, this gives a great opportunity to pick up that minifigure for less than a $5. Anyone looking at building their own Endor diorama without buying the set is also in for a treat, as these three figures are fairly cheap to obtain, with the annual at the minute being reduced to about £8 here in the UK, the Christmas set going for about 25-30 quid, and this magazine being about £3.50 usually. This means you'll be able to pick up all the figures for less than even 50 quid, and if you're already picking up the annual, the magazine and the advent calendar, you most likely have the pieces around to build somewhat of a small scaled Endor diorama yourself. Great news for any fan of the franchise. Now regarding the new Phase 2 Captain Rex in the UTS Venator set coming out this year, I'd been asked in one of my last LEGO Leaks videos if this would make the OG Phase 2 Captain Rex that much more expensive to collect. Now, in my opinion, I do believe so, but not for the reasons you may think. Many people may buy this set and sell the pieces, which would get you about 90% of the cost back, which would also end you up with Rex and Yularen for about 70 quid if you're able to sell the rest of the pieces for an average of 8p a brick. Any collectors that have maybe bulk of the old Rex or are just trying to sell it to get a profit will have to then demand higher prices, because as it's an older figure, it will be worth more than the new Rex that will be sitting on most store shelves. It should be the opposite really, as it's an older figure and we now have an updated one, but with LEGO it always works the opposite way. I would not be surprised if also we see the opposite and it's a drop in price, as many people will want the Clone Wars version with the new updated face, you've got the scarf for the chip, and it's just overall going to be a better figure than the last one. Now, with the other Rexes that we have, I believe there were two Phase 1 Rex, you have the Rex from Rebels, and then you have the Rex Endor gear figure, which Is it Rex? That's a question for another time, but it is given the nickname Commander Rex, I do believe. These figures won't really change. As it's a Phase 2 Rex coming out, I don't see the price of these changing that much, unless more attention is brought, in which case you might see a small hike in prices, but overall these should be roughly the same. If you yourself want to check out the prices for any of these figures, or even for Lego pieces that you may be looking for, I do recommend Bricklink. It is now Lego owned, which makes it just that much easier to use, I've found. When you look on Bricklink, you can scroll down to whichever character you want and actually find the average prices that they are selling for. So when you find the Phase 2 Rex, for instance, you scroll down to where it says Price Guide, and you can sort by month, by however long you want, and here for the last 6 months, a new Captain Rex sells for an average £154. Now, for the current Rexes, the average price is £260, which is a lot more than that 154 average, but you've got to remember, these are items that are currently up for sale, and not all of them will be sold. The site is also helpful as it gives you a list of every single minifigure that has sold and what price it has sold at. So you can see this figure has gone for the cheapest 17p. However, I'm pretty sure at that price it was very badly used, scratched up, and probably wasn't even a complete minifigure. If you look at June 2023, for instance, the cheapest this figure has gone for is £93.53, which isn't a bad price considering it's nearly half the average. If you wanted to check it out, I'll leave a link to this page specifically in the description, and if this is not the minifigure you were looking for, just use the search bar at the top to type the brick piece, the minifigure name, or the set that it comes from, and I'm sure you'll find exactly what you were looking for. That's all for the LEGO news for now. Please be sure to check out my older videos to check all the leaks coming if you haven't already, and stick around for more news on the horizon. May the Force be with you always.